All right, everybody, welcome back to The Link as we wrap up this week, but we have saved the best for last in my own humble and certainly biased opinion because Dr. Anita Borja Enriquez has been a longtime friend of the show. You know, we've been able to rely on her for information about the University of Guam. I also had the pleasure of taking her very first class when she came back to the island as a newly minted PhD 25 years ago at UOG. So, Dr. Enriquez, half a day to you, and good to see you.
Jason and Team KOM, thank you so much for this opportunity to be here to share some information with everyone.
Absolutely. I mean, we talk about direct assistance to students, especially at the university level, and I mean, that's a phenomenal opportunity. Obviously, that's going to bode well for people that were maybe considering or on the fence, or maybe even saying, you know, I can maybe put my education on the back burner right now because there's bigger problems in the world and everything. But can you break down, like mechanically maybe, exactly what is covered under the direct assistance program, and does it affect all students, part-time, full-time, and how does it all work out?
Sure. So the Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund, the acronym is HERF, is really a direct student relief. That is, it's separated apart from the financial aid, Pell Grant, all of that. This is like an additional gift that's coming to institutions of higher education for their students. And so we received $6 million, which is the third iteration of award that the University of Guam has received. As you know, sometime in spring or Nakan 2020, we did receive our first share of roughly about $2.2 million. Then we received another, I think it was 2.2 or $4 million. That was, we called it HERF 2. And that notice was given sometime, I believe, January of 2021. And so those have already been given out. And we had them broken down into 4 categories. Full-time Pell eligible, part-time Pell eligible, or full-time non-Pell eligible, or part-time non-Pell eligible. Pell eligible means that you were able to receive Pell Grant of any amount, right? And so if you were Pell eligible, then you received a greater share of the allocation that went out to students. And of course, last year, they were very strict about the eligibility. So if you're an international student, you're not eligible. If you're, there are a number of different restrictions to that. If you're a DACA student, you are not eligible. And so with the American Rescue Plan notification that came out late spring of this year, I believe it was sometime in May, all these restrictions were lifted. They were like, you know what, we just want to help everybody, you know, and we want to help them as far back as in spring of 2020. So the $6 million student relief under HERF actually gives the universities and colleges flexibility with regard to how it's going to be distributed. And in the recent press release of $703,400 for those students who were enrolled in our summer classes. And if you happen to be a full-time student eligible for a Pell Grant, you receive, or you will be getting either through the mail or direct deposit in your bank account, or you may have already received that, $1,000 if you were Pell Grant eligible and a full-time student. If you were a part-time Pell eligible student, you received $850. So imagine, Jason, if you only enrolled in one class, you were a part-time student, $850 just simply by being enrolled during the summer. And those students, regardless of your full or part-time status, who are not Pell eligible, received $700. Okay, so that's the first iteration. The second iteration is for this coming fall 2021 semester. We call it the Fanunsanan. So you know, hold on to your hats. You know, students coming into this new academic semester, another round of student relief will be coming your way, and we plan to distribute $2 million, roughly about $2 million. There will be another $2 million coming out in the spring of 2020. We called it our Phantom Nakan spring 2022, another $2 million. Now there's, so the balance of roughly about $1.3 million, we have decided, and other universities have done this in the state, to make those what we call, I want to make sure I use the correct term, is the HERF-3 student grant requests. It's an application process. And so we will announce that soon, and we anticipate that the closing date for that application for even more money beyond the $2 million in the fall and the $2 million in the spring, right? But you have until September 30th to submit this 3-page application, which will be made available online as an online form.
And 3 pages for an undergrad should be nothing at this point.
Right. And so here's the eligibility, right? You must meet the following requirements. You must demonstrate need. You must demonstrate financial hardship. You must experience, or, God forbid you've experienced, but, it has to deal with an emergency, accident, illness, or other unforeseen events related to the COVID-19 emergency. That's also an eligibility factor. You were enrolled as a full-time or part-time student in the spring of 2020, the fall of 2020, the spring of 2021, or during the fall of 2021. So it's like, wow, we're going way back, right? Since the start of the pandemic. So any of those students are eligible, even if they're no longer students. So the examples of what's covered, and this is very important, okay, tuition and fees determined by the committee. There would be a review committee for this. Medications and other costs related to emergency medical care, and up to $500 may be requested for that. Overdue utility bills reaching a turn-off notice, up to $500 may be requested for that. Homelessness, sudden loss of housing, or imminent eviction, up to $500 may be requested. Travel costs related to a death or illness in the immediate family, up to $500 may be requested. Loss of child care, up to $500 may be requested. But let me just add, expenses that are not covered by this fund. Non-essential personal bills such as current utility, credit card, cable, cell phone, and so forth. Traffic tickets, library fines, or other expenses mistakenly incurred.
Can I just jump in, Doc? Because I mentioned undergrad like a second ago, but do these benefits also apply for people, because UOG has quite the thriving graduate school, so for people that are applying for master's degrees and more?
Right, absolutely.
Okay.
They'll apply to graduate students as well. Right.
And obviously, so, you said until September 30th is the deadline. That seems like it's a long way off, but next week is already August, and the money is finite. So, it is kind of like a mad dash to get your application.
So it goes back to you snooze, you lose, right? You're like, oh my gosh, there's this opportunity, and there is a deadline, and there is an application form. And by the way, there are eligibility criteria, and there's also documentation that has to be furnished as evidence to support your claim.
We'll tell you what, speaking of time, unfortunately ours is running out as well, but could you give our listeners and our viewers like the website URL or the phone number where people can call, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who have like a lot more questions, and surely they qualify, but I'm sure they want to talk to somebody about the specifics. Right.
So we do have an email address that's uppercase or lowercase H as in Harry, E R F as in Frank, at Triton, triton.uog.edu.
All right. So Dr. Anita Borja Enriquez, good news if you are thinking about pursuing or continuing your upper education. You can contribute to Guam in this way, and certainly UOG wants to help you achieve that if you have suffered undue hardship. So, Doc, always a pleasure. Good to see you as always, and we wish you a good weekend.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay.
Please take care. All right, everybody. Because it is Olympic time right now, we're going to show you a clip of the One Micronesia podcast where our own Victorious Falan had a chance to sit down with one of the FSM's athletes representing at Tokyo. Of course, we had the President Peñuelo, moments ago. Here now is the One Micronesia podcast with a representative from the